Hello, 你好. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this Chinese New Year introduction. My name's Rina. How you doing? 你好吗? I work for Confucius Institute in Liverpool. Today we're going to explore some Chinese New Year traditions, some fun folk stories, and learn some Chinese at the same time. So, if you're interested in learning some Chinese culture and listening to fascinating folk stories, then join me for a fun-filled time. First of all, I want to know, do you know the other name for Chinese New Year? So Chinese New Year, also known as the Spring Festival, in Chinese it's 春节. Do you want to try and say it? 春节. Very good. 春 is spring, 节 is festival. It's associated with many myths and legends, with many traditions and superstitions. So, what is the story of 春节? According to Chinese legend, there once lived an evil monster by the name of nián. It lived in the bottom of the ocean, but unlike other marine animals that we know of, such as the little pretty mermaid, nián was very mean. He has horns and fangs. He was terrible to the villagers. At the end of the lunar year, he would come ashore to bully villagers, destroying their homes and eating any livestock he could find. To hide from this monster, people would retreat to the mountains every New Year's Eve. One year, as they were preparing to go back to the mountains, packing their stuff and boarding up their windows, there was a strange old man showed up. He was greeted by an elderly woman who encouraged him to go to the mountain with the rest of the villagers. The old man refused to go, and instead he told her if she let him stay the night in her home, he would get rid of nián for good. The woman was unconvinced, but she agreed to let him spend the night in the village, and she went to the mountains with the rest of the villagers without him. At midnight that night, nián came to the village, only found out that the whole village was empty except for that woman's house. It was decorated with red papers and illuminated by the candles inside. Irritated by this, nián swooped towards the house, only to be stopped because of the deafening cracking sound coming out of the courtyard of this house. The front door flew open and the old man showed up. He was roaring with laughter. This strange spectacle terrified nián. He fled through the night, went back to his home back in the ocean. The next morning, the villagers were astonished to find that their village had not been destroyed. Remembering the old man's promise, the old woman raced back home to see if he was unharmed and to find out how he had stopped nián from wreaking havoc on the village. She found red papers, candles, and fireworks, but the old man was nowhere to be seen. News quickly spread. The villagers came to realize that nián was frightened by the color red, the bright candles, and fireworks. From that year on, people would celebrate their triumph over nián by decorating their homes in red, lighting the candles, and setting off the fireworks. They would spend the whole night celebrating and welcome the new lunar year. Many of these traditions have lasted to this day, which we will come to later. Now, celebrating 春节 in Chinese would be 过年, which means surviving nián's attack. If you want to wish other people Happy Chinese New Year, you can say 过年好. 好 means good or great. Now let's say it one more time. 过年好. 好, very good. If you want to say Happy Spring Festival, it would be 春节快乐. 春节 we know means Spring Festival. 快乐 means happy. Now let's say it together. 春节快乐. How? Very good. Many Chinese people also like to say Chinese New Year greetings for family life, such as 年年有余, which means you have enough essentials left over year after year. Let's say it again. 年年有余. Very good. How? If someone wishes you happiness for the whole family, they shall say 阖家幸福. Let's say it together. 阖家幸福. How nice. There are also some sayings for good health and safety, such as 岁岁平安, which means everlasting peace and happiness and safety year after year. Shall we say it together? 岁岁平安. Very good. Now try to say it to the family next to you. 岁岁平安. How? If you're a student, you would want a good grade. Then people can say 学业有成 to you, which means wishing achievements in study. Let's say it together. 学业有成. How? Fantastic. Now we know the origin of 春节, and we know many customs and celebrations for 春节 are based on the story of nián. So, what do you think Chinese people would do on 春节? I guess many of you would say fireworks. How? Good job. That's absolutely correct. Setting off fireworks in Chinese is 放鞭炮. Let's say it together. 放鞭炮. Very good. 放鞭炮 has been a 春节 tradition in China for thousands of years. People would usually buy some fireworks before 春节 and set them off on the ground of their courtyards outside their homes. 鞭炮 have fuses, and they're usually wrapped in a heavy red paper casing to contain the explosive compound. So fireworks are actually very loud. Although during recent years, fewer and fewer people choose to set off fireworks in their own homes, mainly for two reasons. One is that it's really easy to get hurt by them, and two is that it pollutes the environment. It's forbidden in large cities to personally set off fireworks in their homes, such as Beijing and Shanghai. Do you like to watch fireworks show? I know I do. I love them. They're so pretty. Apart from 放鞭炮, people decorate their houses with red Spring Festival couplets. We call that 春联. 联 means couplets. Let's say it one more time. 春联, Spring Festival couplets. How? Very good. And also we put on red lanterns and red paper cuttings. City streets are lit up by red lanterns, and numerous people would dress up in red, just like this. Now, after we've heard of the story of nián, can you tell me why people do all those things? I think many of you would probably know by now. This is because in that story of nián, nián was scared off by the color red. So red in Chinese culture can ward off evil spirits and bring good luck. It is a symbol of good luck, wealth, and prosperity. These red decorations are to the festival what the Christmas trees are to Christmas in the UK. Since 春节 is so important for Chinese people, no matter how far that person is, they will always try to return home before the New Year's Eve so they can have a reunion dinner with their family. Reunion dinner in Chinese is 年夜饭. Let's say it together one more time. 年夜饭. How? Fantastic. During New Year's Eve, Chinese people usually stay at home instead of visiting friends outside, and there is a folk story behind this tradition. Once upon a time in China, there was a famous religious figure called 铁拐李, who is an immortal in heaven. Every year during New Year's Eve, he would come to Earth and visit other people's families to see which family has enough money and food and which family doesn't have enough. So he would give some money to the poor. There was a family who shut their door so 铁拐李 can't come in, and they opened the door and welcomed him after they finished their dinner. 铁拐李 came inside and see there was nothing on the table, so he thought this family was really poor, and he left them with some money. Later on, words got around that a family who shut their door on New Year's Eve got money instead. So everybody started doing that. That's the origin of this tradition. Same as Christmas dinner, Chinese people usually prepare so many delicious dishes for 年夜饭. However, different areas have different kinds of 年夜饭. For example, in northern China, which is where I'm from, we have dumplings for 年夜饭, which is a must on the 年夜饭 table. Dumplings in Chinese is 饺子. Shall we say it out loud together one more time? 饺子. How? Very good. Have you tried 饺子 before? They kind of look like tortellini, as that Italian pastry food in the supermarkets we can always see. 饺子 have some fillings wrapped inside of pastry. Now they're really delicious and fun to make. You can combine any meat and vegetables you like and chop them in small pieces as fillings. In southern China, people usually have sweet glutinous rice cake for 年夜饭. In Chinese, it's 年糕. Do you want to say it with me? 年糕. How? Fantastic. 年糕 is made of sweet glutinous rice and sometimes with sugar, candy, or some other dry fruits. So it's very pretty and sweet and delicious. Another dish you're going to see for 年夜饭 is whole fish. Now this is an instance in which two words have two different characters but are pronounced the same way. What does it mean? So in Chinese, fish is pronounced as 鱼, same as leftover, 鱼. Shall we say it together? 鱼. The idea is that every year you would have abundance of food and wealth. You have it left over for the next year. Remember, we just said some sayings which has the same meaning. That's right, it's 年年有余. Shall we say it one more time? 年年有余. How? Very good. One of the most common food in Chinese takeaways must be spring rolls. And you might have guessed by its name that it has something to do with 春节, Spring Festival, and you are right. Now, 春卷 is its Chinese name. Shall we say it together? 春卷. How? Fantastic. Now you know how to order 春卷 in Chinese restaurants and takeaways in Chinese. Well done. Now, you might eat 春卷 year-round, but actually it's a Chinese New Year favorite because it represents wealth. How so? Some think that the shape and the color of 春卷 look a lot like gold bars. Speaking of wealth, during 春节, kids and unmarried young adults would receive a red envelope with money in it. We call that 红包. Say it again, 红包. How? Very good. You usually get 红包 from elderlies in your family when you visit them on 春节 and say 春节 greetings for good fortune to them. But actually nowadays, you might be able to receive a 红包 from friends as well. So just to prepare one day that you might have a chance to get a 红包, let's learn some greetings in Chinese. So one of the most common and direct saying to get a 红包 or to wish people good fortune is 恭喜发财, which means wish you happiness and prosperity. And 红包拿来, which means give me a red envelope. That's very cut to the chase, but it's okay because it's 春节. Now, let's practice it one more time. 恭喜发财，恭喜发财。Very good. 红包拿来，红包拿来。Fantastic. You might want to ask, how come there are only kids and young people get a 红包? There's an old story behind it. According to another Chinese legend, a long time ago, there was a monster known as Sui appeared on New Year's Eve with the intent of harming children. He would touch the children's forehead and the children will become ill and eventually become a fool. However, it was said that when parents prayed sincerely, God would send 8 guards disguised as Chinese coins to protect their children. So people threaded 8 coins on a red string and placed them under the children's pillows. This became an annual custom and the monster Sui no longer came near. As the Chinese character of year, which is Sui, has the same pronunciation of the monster's name, Sui, people would call the lucky money 压岁钱, which means the lucky money that warding off the evil. As time passed, paper notes replaced the coins and the red envelope replaced the thread. Do you still remember how to wish people everlasting peace and safety year after year? That's right, it's 岁岁平安. 岁 is year in this phrase. Now we have learned interesting Chinese traditions and stories for Chinese New Year. Did you enjoy them? How many Chinese phrases can you say? Let's review them together. Hello, 你好,你好. How you doing? 你好吗?你好吗? Spring Festival, 春节,春节. The monster who lived in the bottom of the ocean. 年,年. Celebrating Spring Festival. 过年,过年. Happy New Year. 过年好,过年好. Happy Spring Festival. 春节快乐,春节快乐. We should have enough essentials left over year after year. 年年有余,年年有余. Wish you happiness for the whole family. 阖家幸福,阖家幸福. The monster that turned kids into fools. 岁,岁. Year in Chinese. 岁,岁. Wish you everlasting peace and safety year after year. 岁岁平安,岁岁平安. Wishing achievements in study. 学业有成,学业有成. Setting off fireworks. 放鞭炮,放鞭炮. Spring Festival couplets. 春联,春联. Reunion dinner on New Year's Eve. 年夜饭,年夜饭. Dumplings. 饺子,饺子. Sweet glutinous rice cake. 年糕,年糕. Fish. 鱼,鱼. Spring rose, 春卷，春卷。Red envelope, 红包，红包。Wish you happiness and prosperity. 恭喜发财，恭喜发财。Give me a red envelope. 红包拿来，红包拿来。好 fantastic! Don't worry if you couldn't remember all the Chinese phrases back then. You can always watch this video and pause and read the Chinese phrases with me. I really hope you enjoyed today's video and learned the meaning of Chinese New Year, which is to share happiness and blessings to each other. I would also like to invite you to record the Chinese phrases you can say or retell the stories of the Chinese legends we've learned today. And if you can record them, post them online and hashtag CNY Liverpool. That would be so great. Thank you so much for watching it. Happy Chinese New Year. 过年好. Thank you. Bye bye. 再见.